You know, today we're here because of a crisis in community. We're in here because there's a crisis in our giving, in our community, in our giving to our United Way. United Way is an integral part of the partnership of what Huntsville, City of Madison, and Madison County has and provides services throughout this county for people on a day-to-day basis. And right now we're looking at a looming shortfall, of $500,000 to United Way. And we'd like to ask someone to come and put a face on this, put a face on the crisis, and tell us what it means to our community. And we'd like to ask Steve Kirkpatrick, who is President of the United Way of Madison County, to come forward and give us a face and tell us about what this means to our community. Steve?
Thank you. Now, there's a lot of familiar faces out there that I can tell from the news media. That's because we all saw you at the March tornadoes, and that just is a perfect example of the small issues that we deal with every day in United Way, but are creating part of this crisis. For many people, you remember the movie from a few years ago, The Perfect Storm? That's what the social services community is facing here in Madison County this year. You've got the strain that it has placed on all social service organizations in providing disaster relief from both the April 27th tornadoes and the one we had in early March of this year. You've got a generally poor economic outlook, which has hurt fundraising for most of our agencies. Last year, if you remember, when the Educational Trust Fund was reduced, they cut funding to programs that had been providing services to mostly youth that were related to education. This year, you had the announcement, or actually I should say this week, you had the announcement by Governor Bentley that we were going to have proration in the general fund budget this year, and looks like proration as much as 40% for 2012, and you combine that with the shortfall that the mayor mentioned in United Way, and you have a real crisis in the services we can provide. I can tell you that for Madison County, the funds that we raise at United Way support 32,000 individuals that range from people answering helpline when they're suicidal or have some personal crisis, to providing long-term care for children from the foster care system that are about to graduate and go out and become members of our community. One of the forgotten groups of people in our community are certainly seniors that are living on fixed incomes, and anytime you have a cut in the Medicare budget, it reduces the amount of money they have for food and drugs. So all of these things are interconnected. And so I kind of started with, it's the perfect storm for the community. That's exactly what's happening. And the solution that we have is we've got to have the support of the broad community to help us solve this problem for this year and for years coming. So what I'd like to do, I serve as the leader of the staff at United Way, but the board has taken a special initiative this year, so I'd like to introduce Beth Sippel, who is the Vice President for Commercial Loans at First Commercial Bank, and most importantly, she is the chairman of the board to talk about the initiative that we're undertaking, and that's what we're launching today. So Beth?
Thanks, Steve. Madison County is a generous community, and so we are reaching out to Madison County citizens to ask them to help us during this funding crisis. We're asking for everyone to give $20, and to give $20, if 25,000 people in our community give $20, we will make up the shortfall of $500,000. We're making it easy for you to give. You can give at your local bank, and most local banks have opened accounts for the 20 by 20 United Way campaign. You can also give online, and you can also give by phoning the United Way. But the important thing is that you reach into your wallets and you give, and we've seen such generosity over the last year in tornado relief that we need to really respond to this crisis now in funding, and each of us get out our wallets and give $20.
We have ours.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, we will show it. Yeah. Well, and I'll start. You know, this community, when it knows what a need is, steps forward, and there's no question there's a need. And this the United Way is an organization that, as a mayor, we desperately need. Government can't fund everything, but yet the need in our community is great. And the United Way it does an incredible job of picking up when people truly need them. And so I love the fact that when you have a big problem such as $500,000, if you do it $20 at a time, it very quickly is solved. And I challenge Madison residents, Madison County residents, Huntsville residents, step forward, make one small contribution, and if enough of us do it, very quickly we'll be back to where we need to be, because when a crisis happens and it's in your backyard and it's you, that's when you're going to be looking for support. It needs to be there.
Just as Paul said, this is our effort to make sure that we take care of our neighbor. This is neighbor taking care of neighbor. Yesterday we had a call at City Hall, and there's a lady in a neighborhood who's in a home with a special needs child, and she needed some help. And you thought, where do you turn to help for that? And you turn to United Way, because United Way provides social services on a day-to-day basis for this community. And this community gives back time and time and time again. And this is one more time we're asking the community to give back. There's a $500,000 shortfall in United Way. And that $500,000 means that we won't be able to provide the services that we as a community have traditionally provided in this community. And that's one of those that we need to step forward, we need to give back with. $20 is a very little amount so that we can be a community that takes care of their neighbor. To Steve, we pledge our support from the city of Huntsville. I know that Paul pledges his support from the city of Madison. And everybody wants to make sure that we are the kind of community that we've always been known as. Huntsville, Madison County, we are a community that takes care of people and takes care of our neighbors.